that day when evening came, he said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along, just as he was, in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him."
That's an interesting incident because while the storm was going on and the boat was rocking back and forth, Jesus was sound asleep. He seemed completely oblivious. The disciples woke him up. "We're going to drown, help us." And Jesus stood up and said, "Cut that out." and the whole storm stopped. What was the result in the disciples? Did they say, "Oh, you are powerful, you're a person I want to get to know"? Instead, they were afraid. They stood back from him. And miracles tend to do that. Miracles tend to create distance. And Jesus wasn't about creating distance. He was about bringing us closer to God. And I think one reason Jesus didn't do those miracles of spectacular impression is because his main goal was to bring us close to God. And miracles will often keep us distant from God.
The miracle of Jesus calming the storm is one of 4 miracles that come together in Mark's Gospel, and they all have the same theme of Jesus dealing with the apparently impossible. Here they are on the water, they're experienced fishermen, but they're overwhelmed. They think they're going to drown. Then they come across Legion, the demoniac, that nobody can help. It seems impossible to help him. Then, of course, there's the woman with the issue of blood. She's spent all her money. She's gone to different doctors. No one can help her. She's got to the end of herself. And then there's the dead girl. Nothing can be done. And in each situation, Jesus brings about a miracle. Now, I'm convinced they are real historical miracles. They did happen, but there is also a message that Jesus is showing that when we feel that we're in an impossible situation or overwhelmed or got to the end of ourselves, we need to trust him that he will have it in hand.
Jesus' miracles always have something to do with love. They either look forwards or backwards, and mainly they look forwards to the cross. And they're miracles about resurrection and restitution and salvation and coming of faith, and they're miracles ultimately about love.
The woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all she had. Yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, "If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed." Immediately, her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering.
The story of the woman with the issue of blood, we don't know exactly what caused it, but certainly she would have been seen as ritually unclean, unable to take part in the spiritual life of the community. And this real miraculous healing, I'm convinced, did take place, but Jesus is also giving a message there that he's come to restore people into a relationship with him and into a spiritual community.